I was sick of getting a 2% raise every year, no matter how good I did at my job. I wanted to create my own income. So if I wanted to work hard, I could make more money.
Hello and welcome to episode 112 of the Smart Agents Podcast. My name is Michael Walter and I'll be your host. In today's episode, we are joined by Massachusetts-based agent Eddie Ahearn. After a long career in retail sales, Eddie sought out a change that rewarded his hard work and ambition beyond the 2% annual raise. In the 3 years since joining the real estate industry, he has surpassed all of his goals and is finding great success. Now, before we get on to the day's featured interview, make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and now Amazon Music. Also, if you or someone else on your team has an awesome story or tip to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. We're always on the lookout for new stories to share. All right, let's get on to the day's featured interview with Eddie Ahearn. In addition to retail sales, Eddie shares how his skills acquired as a local DJ have translated over to his real estate career. Well, the way I like to start everything out is if you could just introduce yourself a little bit, who you are, kind of where you're at in the country.
Yeah, so my name is Eddie Ahearn. I am coming from Athol, Massachusetts, which is a small town, pretty close to the New Hampshire border in Massachusetts. So I'm about, most people will know Worcester is the closest city. I'm about 35 minutes from Worcester. So central Mass, but, New Hampshire border, small town, very, very rural town. I grew up in Boston. So I'm a city boy by nature, but I needed to get out of the city and get away from the traffic and the potholes, and moved out here not too long ago. So
not bad, not a bad way to live. Tell me, a little bit about your real estate journey. I see you've gotten into it about 3 years ago, but you had, you were doing something completely different before then.
I always had experience in real estate. I was a landlord for 20 years. So I had some investment properties that I rented out, and bought and sold some properties. So I knew the business, but I never really got into the sales side of it. I was in sales. I was a retail manager for a long time. And about 10 years ago, I opened up my own DJ business. So I was a DJ, which helped me in real estate because I did a lot of weddings. I did corporate events, a lot of stuff like that, which created that sphere of influence for me, which definitely helped in real estate. But I had to get out of the retail business. It just was killing me, working every weekend, working every holiday, not being able to go to all the kids' events and birthday parties and missing 4th of July. And, I just had to get out, and real estate was something that was just calling to me for a long time. And I just decided to jump in and do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you just said it was more of a, kind of a lifestyle change you were looking for. But was it from that, the property management side of things that you decided that real estate was really the best option for you?
It's partly, but I think mostly it was, the flexibility, being able to schedule my own, my own time, to be able to create, I was sick of getting a 2% raise every year, no matter how good I did at my job. I wanted to create my own income. So if I wanted to work hard, I could make more money. I don't know. I felt like I had a skill set that was being not underutilized, so to speak. I felt like I had good negotiation skills, good people skills, and I didn't think that it was really being used to my full potential. So adding all that up, it just made sense for me to get into real estate.
Right. So how's it been over the past 3 years?
It's been great. I mean, I have no regrets. I started off my first year and a half. I was kind of part-time. I was transitioning from my other job. I couldn't just leave it because, in real estate, you don't get paid right away. You've got to wait until you actually close deals. So I needed income. So I kept my DJ business going. I kept, my other job going, and I kind of worked in real estate. And then all of a sudden, the deals started coming in. 2020 was the end of 2020. I started getting into it full time. But again, I got into real estate in a really weird time. It was during a pandemic. It was a crazy, seller's market. I've never experienced anything but what we've experienced the last 2 or 3 years, where you could put a house on the market and just sell it like crazy. But luckily for me, I had a lot of listings. So they were selling just as soon as I could get them on the market, they would sell. So I got off to a really fast start, which was good.
So yeah, how did you get off to such a fast start when, you are brand new to the market, and it is so, was so crazy to actually be able to land some of those listings?
For me, obviously the sphere was huge. I mean, having a sphere and building a database. So basically my company, we have a very, very good training program, and when new agents come in, we actually have, an actual course that's called basically like working your sphere and sending out postcards and, doing Facebook posts, creating a business page, and kind of, touching all these people monthly, whether it's with a monthly newsletter, whether it's a postcard campaign that you're doing. So every month you're reaching out to your sphere so that whenever, they or somebody they know is looking to buy or sell, you're top of mind with them. You're the first person they think of. And, like I said, I had a big sphere. So these people that I had done weddings for, my fiance has a huge family. I did all her family's weddings. So all the cousins were coming to me. Hey, we're looking to buy a house now. We're looking to sell or whatever. I was getting that. And, you can turn one listing or one buyer into, 20 deals, if you just stay on top of them. If you continue to reach out to them and service them correctly, they're going to come back to you with other referrals. So.
Right. Sometimes when I talk to people, they're always reluctant to, really, like you said, family members and cousins and extended family, and to really kind of put yourself out there to, look for business through the family spheres. But I think it's always such a great opportunity that a lot of people are missing out on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get it too. A lot of people, when I first started, I thought my first deal was going to be my uncle. And the first question he said to me was, how many houses have you sold? And I said, I haven't sold any yet. So he didn't want to use me. Right. And then there are other people who don't want to use family because they feel uncomfortable, bringing up if they have a complaint, they don't want to bring it up to you. So, and I totally get that. But my comeback to them is, you don't have to use me, but, send me your referrals. If you know somebody else that, might need my services, send them my way. So yeah, that's a common thing. There's a lot of new agents that get really hurt when family and friends don't use them. But the old saying is don't get into business and with family and friends. So I understand it. I totally get it.
Right. So obviously with your DJ business, you created a very large sphere of people that not only knew you, but had real personal connections with you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. They got to know your personality. And that's the thing, I always say you want to work with people, whether it's real estate or your doctor, your attorney, you want to work with people you like, people you get along with. And, being a DJ and especially doing weddings, people did get to see my personality. They did get to see how I react to crowds and to get the party going. And, that was their impression. Their first impression of me was, hey, this guy, we had one of the best nights of our life and he was running the show. So that's a good first step to get people to say, hey, I want him to, to help me find a house or to sell my house. So yeah, that was a good way to get in the door. Definitely.
Right. And now once you're in that door and you have these people that have become your, real estate clients, what are you doing? Like you said, how you can turn one listing into 20 potential listings. What are you doing to make sure that they do think of you when either they have an issue, they have a real estate need, or maybe one of their friends does?
Well, I have a monthly newsletter that I send out every month. I have an email list. So every time I have somebody who if I have a sign in a yard and someone calls me, and I get their email, they go on my list. So they're getting an email, a real estate newsletter every month emailed to them. And it's not a high pressure thing. It's basically just, hey, what did the Fed do today? What are rates doing? What's the best 10 things to do to spruce up your house to get more value? Just little articles, blogs I'll throw in there, and they get that information. So every month they're getting in touch from me. And then, I've got everybody's birthdays in my database. So during birthdays, they'll get cards or they'll get a little note from me. And my prior clients, I just did this yesterday. I just put a video on my Facebook business page. I had a client who's been in her house for a month. She just bought a lakefront house. I went down, popped in on her. I let her know I was coming. It wasn't unannounced, but I call them the pop-ins, and brought her a little gift and just checked in on her. How you doing? How's things going? And then, take a little video, throw that out there. Just let people know that, when the transaction ends, I don't go away. I'm still there for you. So if you have questions about the house, or you have, questions about, hey, I'm filing my taxes, I might need my final CD, I'll send that out to you at the first of the month. That's another great way great thing for agents out there to reach out to people. Tax time, send the copy of the final CD. Your buyers or your sellers or whoever who just bought or sold the house may not have that and they need it for the tax time. It's a great way to reach out and say, hey, I know tax time is coming. Here's the CD. If you need anything else from me, let me know. Top of mind, just keeping your name out there and letting people know that you're still there even after the transaction's over.
Right. And I really like that idea of doing the video and the pop in with somebody that is a past client, because I think a lot of times, when you look at agent social media, it's all the current listings and it's not really talking too much about the past listings. Yeah, you might have the testimonials and things that are on there, but nothing that it really shows that, hey, this guy is coming back and reaching out and getting in contact with his clients from, a month or so ago.
Right. And if you have perfect example, this happened on the last one I just mentioned, this lady who bought this home was sold a home in Methuen, Mass, which is a very urban area, moved into a very rural area. So now she has a pellet stove, which she's never had a pellet stove before, right? So she had questions about it. So I was there to answer her questions, but little things like that. You do the little things for your clients, they remember them. You know what I mean? So, and again, like you said, you don't see a lot of it after the transaction. People usually, once they get their commission check, they're gone. You don't see them again. But if you're looking for referrals, you've got to be there after the transaction, because that's what people are going to remember.
Right. Absolutely. Is that something that you really are focusing on to grow your business, is really kind of build up and bring in more and more referrals?
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually tell my buyers and sellers when I'm in a listing appointment with them or in a buyer appointment with them, I say, my goal obviously is to sell your home for as much as I can on your terms, or for a buyer, it's to get you a great home at a great price. But what I'm really looking for is your referral. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking, if we sell your home, awesome. If we don't sell your home, we don't sell your home. But I'm working for your referrals so that, when this transaction is over, even whether it gets to the end or not, when someone's looking for a realtor, you're going to be screaming my name from the rooftops. Like, I'm the one I want you to be thinking of me when somebody that's looking. And everybody knows a realtor. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Everybody knows at least one realtor, whether they know it or not. So, you've got to overcome that, because all of the people that have family and have friends that are in the business. So you have to make sure that they want to use you. And the only way you can do that is really be top of mind at all times and always be there, giving them little touches.
Right. And especially, like you said, in a rural area, it tends to be the people that have been around for a long time that everybody kind of knows. And it can kind of be hard to break into that market sometimes when it is a little bit more of a tight knit community.
Yeah.
But by having that reputation as the person that is going to go out and, show you how to use your stove, you're not just the real estate agent. You are, the lifestyle agent and the person that's really going to help us go along the way.
Exactly. And I'm sure there are people out there that might say to me, you're crazy, you're wasting time when you could be out there trying to find other deals. But, I have one client that I got, and through that one client, I've done 10 closings. You know what I mean? So because I took care of him, his whole family is now my clients, and he's got a huge family. You know what I mean? So his uncles and his father and his brothers are using me. His sister's going to be coming to me, and then their kids will come to me eventually. You know what I mean? So it does sound, you are taking time away from, getting new business, but you're dealing with people that already know you and already know how good of an agent you are, and you've already fostered that relationship with them. So I think it's more important to cultivate that relationship instead of wasting time going to trying to find new people. The people you already have can create an enormous amount of business for you, Right.
Absolutely. You turn that one person into, your own sales team for you.
Yeah. You got all you need is one big family and you take care of them. And it's like DJing, right? I DJ'd for people, and then I started DJing for the second generation, so it's the same thing with houses. You sell a house to somebody, and when they go to resell that house, if they haven't heard from you in 3-4 years, they're going to use another agent. But if you've been there for them those 3-4 years, throwing them a Christmas card, giving them your newsletter, when they decide to sell that house again, they're going to come right back to you,
Right. And I got to imagine that was really helpful, over these past few years when the market has been so crazy. Because if I'm a buyer or seller out there and I'm getting a referral, like, hey, this guy really knows what he's doing. He took us through every step of the way the last time, it's going to make me feel a lot more at ease when I do know that the market is kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it works that way with anything, right? If you have somebody that you know and trust is referring you to somebody, you're automatically going to feel at ease. So when I go into a meeting for the first time, meeting somebody, and I'm coming as a referral, it's so much easier than if it's a cold call or it's just somebody that I just picked the phone up and, somebody called on my sign and I have no idea who this person is. At least if I can say, hey, I know your brother Jack, I sold his house, or, I know your sister Susan, we worked on deals together. It's the guards down when you go in their home, like they're already relaxed because they feel like they know you already. And they already feel like, I go into these appointments, I don't have any doubt that I'm going to sign them up, that I'm going to list their home or help them buy a home. And, it usually works out that way because that comfort level and that guard is down.
Right. Throughout this past couple of years, and really, as we're coming, I guess, really like kind of March, and like in my market here in Florida, really like kind of February, March was like really the peak of things. And we started to kind of tail off. How have you dealt and really been able to convey that message to your listings that, what you saw a couple months ago isn't necessarily the case anymore, and really keeping in context what they're seeing on the Zillows and all those types of things?
Yeah, that's a great question because it comes up all the time. I mean, you can tell people something, and this is something our CEO tells us all the time. You can tell people something over and over again. Once you show it to them, it's different. So you've got to have the reports, so I'll go on the MLS and I'll do a snapshot, an on-market snapshot report, and I'll show somebody, look how many houses were on the market in your area last year. Okay. There were 4. Now there's 24. You know what I mean? Like the numbers don't lie. You know what I mean? Like the market's changing. So if you put your house on the market, you're not going to get the same as you would a year ago when you only had 4 other houses to compete with, so you've got to show them the data. You've got to show them the reports, and they still might not believe you because a lot of them are like, well, what do you mean I can't? They just sold, that's the other thing. They'll tell you, well, they just sold like 2 months ago and they got, 600,000 for their house. Why can't I get that? Well, they might have sold, 2 months ago, but they went under contract probably 4 months ago. You know what I mean? Right. And those 2 months are a huge difference. So you're going to start seeing, like, even now, the deals that are closing now are still going to be a remnant of the old market. But then once we start getting into the next month or two, you're going to start seeing the prices coming down. We're already seeing houses on market. I mean, houses that have been on them. You never saw a condo in my area stay on the market more than 7 days. Now we've seen 30 days, 40 days. So it's that's another thing you show people. What is the average on market? Average days on market as opposed to a year or two ago to opposed to now, even 6 months ago. And once you show them the data, you don't just tell them, you show it to them, you show them the reports. That's really the only way you can get it through to them that, it is a changing market. But sellers are very, very, they're stubborn. They don't want to believe it, until they throw their house on the market. It sits there because they didn't price it the way you wanted them to. And the market will determine who's right and who's wrong. And usually the market tells us that we as the realtors know what we're doing it right.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And then also that idea of, if your house needs work, you probably need to do a little bit of that work now. You can't just put it up as is anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. There's a lot of stuff. The rules are changing. The game's changing, with a lot of things you could, now you walk into a house and when you're doing a market analysis, and before it was like, yeah, no, you're good. Just put it on the market as is. Now it's like, well, you might want to do a little bit of work. You might want to at least paint, or throw some new rugs down or do the little things that are going to, get you a good return on investment. But I mean, you've got to be able to change to different markets. And that's one of the things that I'm dealing with now because I wasn't in the other market. I've never been in a buyer's market as an agent. I've only been in a seller's market. So I'm adjusting as well. But it's fun, I mean, it's challenging. It's good to you can't, especially if you have a lot of buyers, it's definitely exciting because now the buyers are getting a little bit of leverage, as opposed to, throwing offer and after offer and getting denied every single time. So it's good. It's always good to switch it up. I think an even market, something that's more even. I mean, we're still not in a buyer's market. People think we are, but we're not. We're still in a seller's market. It's still a great time to sell your home, but you just have a little bit less advantage than you did before. So it's evening out a little bit more.
Right. And like you mentioned just a moment ago, having, never been in the previous market and really, you kind of got into it. Global pandemic's going on and the housing market just explodes and goes nuts. It sounds like your company and who you work for, there's a lot of great training and having, people to lean on that do have that experience. How important has that been?
That's the key. I mean, that is the absolute key. And when I came into this business, that's what I wanted. I wanted training and support. Because with training and support, the commissions come. A lot of agents chase the big splits and they chase, the money right away, but you get what you pay for. If you're going to chase a 95% split, they're not going to be able to they're not going to be able to give you the training that you need because you have to pay for it. You know what I mean? So I chose to take a little bit less of a split, but get an amazing marketing team, an amazing training program where we train every Wednesday with the CEO of the company. It's been great. And again, it's not for everybody. There are a lot of different, companies out there, brokerages out there. There's a lot of different burger joints out there because everybody is different, right? Some people want a gourmet burger and pay $20 for it. Some people want to pay $2 for a McDonald's burger. So, but for me, the training and the support, like you mentioned, that's the most important thing because once I'm fully trained and once I know what I'm doing, the money's going to come. You know what I mean? I don't need to chase it right away. It's going to come after I'm always learning. That's the thing. You're always learning,
Right. Well, and just talking to you in this short amount of time, it definitely seems like, you made the right career change. You're burned out. You wanted to leave something that there really wasn't the growth potential. And you understand that it does take time to scale up.
Yeah, it does. It does. The get rich quick mentality. I mean, unless you got a rich uncle or you win the lottery, it's not happening. You know what I mean? You've got to build a business. It takes time. I had a 3-year plan and a 5-year plan. I've definitely surpassed my goals because I was surprised how quick the success came for me. But it was because I put in, going to trainings every Wednesday, dealing with learning how to fill out paperwork correctly and learning the rules and the laws and doing all that stuff. And they're just always doing the little things to help you in the end. And a lot of people don't want to do that, but that's why there's such a failure rate in our business. You know what I mean? There's so many people get into it thinking it's easy, quick money. And they realize I'm paying all these dues and nothing's coming in. And then they get out, because they're not willing to sacrifice and put in the work. But that's true with any business. You have to work at it in order to build it. Unless you're somebody hands you a business ready to go, you've got to build it on your own. You've got to brand yourself. People have to know you. And, we have agents. We opened an office and we have an office in Fort Lauderdale, actually, which I'll be heading down in like a week and a half for a big training event down there. But we have a couple of agents that left Massachusetts and went down to our Fort Lauderdale office, having no sphere down there at all. And now they're literally doing, 20, 25 deals a year because they work the business, and they understood that it's going to take time to get my name recognition down here because nobody knows me. But, they get a little bit of a niche, like I'm the Florida relocation person. Like if you're a Massachusetts resident, we have a lot of people, obviously from the Northeast who can't stand the cold that want to come down to Florida, or they want to buy a vacation home, or they want to be a snowbird, or they want to move down permanently. That became the niche for a lot of people to get into the Florida market. So they had that, and then they just built their business. But yeah, it's definitely, it definitely takes time and effort, but you can stick with it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. It like I said, it definitely seems like you made the right choice a couple of years ago.
I think so. Yeah, I definitely do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.
I want to thank Eddie for joining us today, and I can confidently say that he has achieved his goal of finding a career that is rewarding the level of work and commitment he is putting in. So once again, if you think you or someone else on your team has an incredible story or tip to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. Well, that wraps things up for this episode, but remember, follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts and make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Again, I'm Michael Walter, and we'll see you on the next episode.